Howdy y'all, this is Reglas Raven, and welcome back to a game that we haven't been on in quite a while. This is Dagon. And I know we finished Dagon and we finished the other DLC, but they just released another one. And it's called the Railway Horror DLC. It's this one right here. I have acquired it. And it's spooky season, and I'm late to the show, and we gotta get started on all this. So, I am looking into this one. I think it's by the same people that made Dagon, Dr. Emerson's Nocturnes. I have it saved where I'll get notifications, so hopefully that'll come out soon, or at least by next year, spooky season. But anyway, so let's go ahead and go into the DLC. We've done the little glass bottle. We've done a lot of everything on this. Alright, so this is not an official Lovecraft story, even though it may sound familiar to some of you. It's an excerpt from the writer's letter to his friend, Donald Wandre, from November 24th, 1927, in which he described one of his dreams, or rather, a nightmare. All profits from both DLCs are donated to humanitarian aid, and you can get more information. Alright.
My dreams occasionally approached the fantastical in character, though falling somewhat short of coherence. One scene is especially stamped upon my recollection. That of a dank, fetid, reed-choked marsh under a gray autumn sky.
You said marsh funny. Oh, okay, no. I remember this. All of this. Dreams and letters to his friend Donald Wandre. Lovecraft described two of his dreams after the writer's death. They were sold to the publisher of the Scienti Snaps bizarre magazine and published in the form of short stories. The first one, titled The Very Old Folk, tells the story of one of the provinces of the Roman Republic and mysterious mountain inhabitants performing terrible rituals. The second one was titled The Thing in the Moonlight and was published in January 1941. The publisher added a fabricated beginning and ending to it, in which Lovecraft, unable to free himself from the nightmare, mentally contacts a stranger. Other publishers later reprinted the story, unaware that some of the text was not authentic. It is this dream that we present here in its original form without any additions. Okay. We're gonna keep an eye out for all the little bits and bobs. Is that? Okay. Because of course there's always little bits and bobs. That is to go next, but we want to go all the way around, check for every last little thing that could be something. Because y'all know how they like to hide these things in here. Ooh, sun. I think it might just be that one, which was like over here somewhere. And that one is directly behind where we were originally facing,
with a rugged cliff of lichen-crusted stone rising to the north.
Well, hang on. Anything else? No? Oof. There we go, that's better. I can't decide which thing is easier for movement. It's hard to decide what my eyes want to focus on. Usually it's some of the important things in the... Sometimes there aren't any things, so that's something. Where are we headed?
Impelled by some obscure quest, I ascended a rift, or cleft, in this beetling precipice.
Oh, well, we finally got somewhere where we can't look backwards, at least. Left. Okay. I don't see anything super useful. Besides, it wanted to show us that there is some stuff here. Alright. Finally, no more squelching.
Noting as I did so the black mouths of many fearsome burrows extending from both walls into the depths of the stony plateau.
Yeah, I saw that. Ooh, here we go. The author's voice. The protagonist whose fate you follow is Lovecraft himself. After all, it is an account of his dream. That's why we wanted to reproduce his way of speaking and accent as faithfully as possible. Unfortunately, no recordings of his voice have survived. That's why we had to rely only on descriptions from numerous letters. Friends remember his voice as high-pitched, thin, and flat. However, it changed while reading or reciting, as the writer's wife, Sonia Green, recalls his voice, then became stronger, clearer, and deeply resonant. Lovecraft spoke with a New England accent, which, as the writer himself mentions, was characterized by the following. We don't sound any final R in words like car, far, and phonetically, our common pronunciation is indistinguishable from ka, fa. Selected letters 3, 4, 20. In his youth, Lovecraft tested his singing skills and even recorded some of his rehearsals. My mother actually liked the results. Mothers are not always unbiased critics, but I saw to it that an accident soon removed the incriminating evidence. Later, I tried something less ambitious. This was a better success, but reminded me so much of the way of a dying fox terrier that I very carelessly happened to drop it the record soon after it was made. I have since confined my artistic talents to literature. H.P. Lovecraft to Maurice W. Woe, 15th of May, 1921. Okay. That's actually kind of funny that they made sure to have try to make as close to his voice as they could. Okay.
At several points, the passage was roofed over by the choking of the upper parts of the narrow fissure. These places being exceedingly dark and forbidding the perception of such burrows as may have existed there. In one such dark space, I felt conscious of a singular accession of fright.
My controller just started vibrating.
As if some subtle and bodiless emanation from the abyss were engulfing my spirit. But the blackness was too great for me to perceive the source of my alarm.
Okay. Wow, very limited field of view. Okay, and that wobbliness is not fun.
At length, I emerged upon a tableland of moss-grown rock and scanty soil, lit up by a faint moonlight which had replaced the expiring orb of day.
Okay.
Casting my eyes about, I beheld no living object, but was sensible of a very peculiar stirring far below me, amongst the whispering rushes of the pestilential swamp I had lately quitted.
Of course. Well, it's the next one. There's the moon. You've been traveling all day. Okay. Says that I can feel a presence behind us. Okay. Forward. No words this time. Oh, we're not allowed to look back no more. Okay. Well. I like that they tried to add as close an approximation to his voice as possible. That's not weird. Okay. There's that. Moon. Our destination. There's no like little things here and there for me to click on this time. Unfortunately.
After walking for some distance, I encountered the rusty tracks of a street railway and the worm-eaten poles which still held the limp and sagging trolley wire. I find it fun to listen to different accents and things. This is fun. Spooky but fun. Oh, hello. Borrowed concepts. Lovecraft believed that authors could make their stories more credible by exchanging ideas and drawing from each other's works. The best example is the famous invented book Necronomicon, which also appeared in the works of his friends such as Robert Bloch, later creator of Psycho, and Robert E. Howard, creator of Conan the Barbarian. Its presence in the works of various other writers has even led to mythologization of the Necronomicon and the appearance of references to the book in countless novels, film, and other works of pop culture. I've heard of it in several other places as well. Lovecraft himself also used elements of other people's works, such as the books 𝓯𝓲𝓷𝓭, Nameless Cults by Robert E. Howard, and De Vermis Mysteries, Mysteries of the Worm by Robert Bloch. Pastor, a creature borrowed from Robert W. Chambers, author of The King in Yellow, who was inspired by Ambrose Bierce. He also used his land of Carcosa, which later appeared in the TV series True Detective. It's also in couple of other, I've seen it in a couple of other places as well. 𝓱𝓮𝓻𝓮, a creature invented by Clark A. Smith. Lovecraft slightly changed its appearance and included it in his stories. We wanted to follow this tradition, so we included objects from 3 other games created by our friends. I wonder if you'll be able to recognize them. The Mask. Yeah. That might be something. Depends on whose games, what games, and such. And if I'm looking from them from here on. But that mask is very suspicious. Suspicious mask. Following this line, I soon came upon a yellow vestibuled car numbered 1852 of a plain, double-trucked type common from 1900 to 1910.
Well, apparently that's where I'm supposed to go. I'm excited to see if I can find any other things. Well, apparently it's only this thing, so...
It was untenanted, but evidently ready to start.
Anything else? It sounds like it started already. Alright, just this. The railway has always fascinated people. The mighty power of machines, the freedom to travel vast distances, the romanticism of almost unrestricted exploration. Thousands of strangers passing each other every day, but also the desolate train stations, dreamlike journeys through the night, fatal accidents, and dangerous strangers. No wonder that this topic attracted horror and fantasy writers from Charles Dickens' The Signalman through Robert Bloch's award-winning That Hellbound Train to Clive Barker's The Midnight Meat Train. It's also impossible not to mention the most important Polish weird fiction writer, Stefan Grabinski, whose most famous collection of stories, The Motion Demon, is dedicated to the railway. You'll be able to get acquainted with his work through our next game. Ooh. That's probably the Emerson's Nightmare or something. The one I was mentioning before. And by the way, the steam locomotive was first used to transport passengers in 1825. I wonder if it has anything to do with the number dreamed by Lovecraft. Huh. That is a good point. 1852 to 1825. Yeah, maybe. That's a good point.
The trolley being on the wire and the air brake pump now and then throbbing beneath the floor.
Oh, I guess we're supposed to enter. This is gonna be fun.
I boarded it and looked vainly about for the light switch.
Can't go very high looking, but we can look down a lot. Can we get out? This seems like a very bad idea. Darn. No little question marks.
Noting as I did so the absence of controller handle, which implied the brief absence of the motorman. Then I sat down in one of the cross seats toward the middle, awaiting the arrival of the crew and starting of the vehicle.
Wheel? Darn. We don't get to leave? Okay, that's where I'm supposed to sit. Ugh. These seats look so uncomfortable. What's that?
Presently, I heard a swishing in the sparse grass toward the left and saw the dark forms of two men looming up in the moonlight. They had the regulation caps of a railway company, and I could not doubt but that they were the conductor and motorman. Then one of them sniffed with singular sharpness and raised his face to howl at the moon.
Oh yeah, this is a nightmare.
The other dropped on all fours to run toward the car.
Hey.
I leapt up and at once raced madly out of that car.
Okay. Still a nightmare. Why is the window open? Also, I can't see the other guy. The one that ran. You're supposed to imply that this is like, I gotta run, right? But like... And I understand that, but this is one of those games that I'm checking.
And away across endless leagues of plateau till exhaustion waked me.
Tree, hope, skull, sun, destination.
Doing this not because the conductor had dropped on all fours, but because the face of the motorman was a mere white cone, tapering to one blood-red tentacle.
Okay. Okay then, how did you know? We hope you enjoyed this little journey into the world of Lovecraft's nightmares. We would appreciate it if you took a moment to leave feedback and check out our other games and DLCs. Oh goodness. I remember the little glass bottle. I think Dr. Emerson's Nocturnes is the one that's coming out soon. Wow. It's a neat little game. Neat little DLC. That was fun. It's interesting. And well, let me double check if I got all of the little bits and bobs.
And scary stories have been accompanying men for centuries. They have many faces and forms, but what is their purpose? Why do we enjoy being afraid so much? During our therapy, I'll try to
I missed a few. Look at that. I want to read them. Okay, so Dreams and Letters, 𝓪𝓵𝓷𝓭. 𝓪𝓵𝓷𝓭, the recipient of a letter containing the story presented here, had a significant impact on the career of the writer from Providence. One of Lovecraft's most famous stories, The Call of Cthulhu, was initially rejected by the publisher of Weird Tales magazine. Wandre visited his office and made a small provocation during the conversation, suggesting that Lovecraft was looking for other magazines to expand his audience. After this visit, the nervous publisher decided to accept the story and then publish it in 1928. Just like Lovecraft, Wandre was interested in poetry. Among others, he created the Sonnets of the Midnight Hours, a series which inspired the creator Dagon to write the famous sonnets Mushrooms of Yuggoth. But his greatest merit was co-founding the Arkham House, publishing house with August Derleth, which published Lovecraft's works after the writer's death, contributing greatly to his current popularity. Ooh, okay. So then there's the author's voice and then Dreamlands. Dreams have often been an inspiration for Lovecraft. Dagon is a good example. Moreover, the writer often set the action of his stories in the Dreamland, a separate world filled with unique places, creatures, and legends. This informal dream cycle includes stories written between 1918 and 1932, such as The Cats of Othar, The Doom That Came to Sarnath, Polaris, and The Silver Key. They show slightly different side of the author of Call of Cthulhu and inspirations with the work of Lord Dunsany. The protagonist associated with the Dreamlands is Randolph Carter, known from, among others, one of Lovecraft's longest stories, The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. It tells the story of Carter's journey through amazing lands in search of a wonderful city that appeared to him in his dreams. Okay, then there was the borrowed concepts, okay, then the railway, the visit. In 1927, Donald Wandré hitchhiked from Minnesota to Rhode Island to visit Lovecraft, sometimes having to spend the night outdoors during the trip. Over the course of more than 2 weeks, Lovecraft showed the guests around the most interesting places in his hometown of Providence and the surrounding area. They also went, among others, to Boston, where the writer wanted to show his friend the house, which partly inspired the story Pickman's Model. Unfortunately, it turned out that it had been demolished. However, the truly chilling, literally, event occurred later when another of Lovecraft's friends, James F. Morton, arrived. 3 of them went to a store in Warren, where they took part in an ice cream eating contest. Each of them tried as many as 28 types, and Lovecraft himself admitted that he ate about 2.5 liters of this delicacy. A statement describing their feat was framed and hung on the wall of the store. That's cute. Inspirations. A man with a tentacle covering his face is a strong and disturbing motive. You may recognize this image as is how 𝓯𝓷𝓷, a mysterious, powerful creature appearing in Lovecraft stories, was portrayed in the role-playing game Call of Cthulhu. A creature with a bloody tentacle howling at the moon became the most frequently depicted form of 𝓯𝓷𝓷, although this is not how Lovecraft described it. The presented story also became the inspiration for the erotic macabre novel Trolley number 1852 by Edward Lee. Its hero is Lovecraft himself. He accepts a commission to write a specific type of story combining horror and sensual themes, which feature the titular trolley and its terrifying motorman. Okay. At least I gotta read them all for y'all. So yeah, that was Dagon's Railway Horror DLC. Not a whole lot of horror, but hey, it was something. Anyway, thank y'all so much for joining me for this little snippet of adventure that we had here, and do please let me know what y'all think down below, and do please subscribe. I will see y'all in the next one. Thank y'all. Bye-bye.